Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. I'm Karen Scott Green,
And I'm Kat Hardrick.
and we are joined today with Jennifer Jean-Francois. She is the Vice President of Finance, Chief Financial Officer. She's a Budget Maven, a board member, entrepreneur, wife, and a Brooklyn, New Yorker, formerly. And so, after Jennifer took a stock and options class during COVID with founder and CEO Tajah Muhammad, we love Tajah. We've met her on several occasions. She never imagined that she would be in the position that she is today. She is now a board member for Project WINN and chief financial officer for the WINN Network. The focal point for WINN's brand is mindset development, financial competency. They offer workshops and educational tools to prepare students for real life scenarios.
Yes.
We are all about making sure that these babies understand money. So thank you for joining us, Jennifer. We're so excited to have you. And I have to say that we met Taj on several occasions, and she's absolutely fabulous. And we've been wanting to have her on the program. She could not join us today, and we're so sorry for that. We'll have to have her on another time. But thank you for standing in for her, standing in her stead, and joining. Not just in her stead, but you've taken the course, you know the material, and you were so convinced that you became a board member.
Exactly.
That's right.
Tell us about the WINN Network and Project WINN.
Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to start off by saying thank you both for having me here as a guest tonight and for hosting these influential discussions to empower and uplift the listeners in our communities. And as you said, Tasha couldn't be here. She's pretty sad about that, but I'm here to speak on behalf of Project WINN and WINN, and I'm honored to be here. So So WINN Network, for those that don't know, WINN, WINN, the WINN stands for work hard, improve consistently, never give up, no matter what. So that is our for-profit organization, which commenced operations back in July of 2023. WINN Network is headquartered in Gwinnett County, which I believe, I don't know if you ladies are in Gwinnett, but I know you're in Georgia.
We are.
We are a women-owned and led business with 60 years plus of collective experience. So together with, and I'm aging us. So together with CEO and founder Tajah Muhammad, the mindset coach, Ishelle Jackson, who is the managing director of operations, aka the financial literacy educator, and me, the CFO, aka the budget maven, as you explained. We are extremely passionate and driven when it comes to pouring into the babies, the youth, and giving back to those that we come in contact with. So WINN Network targets student athletes at the high school and collegiate levels. And the goal is to provide essential tools to successfully have them navigate this thing that we call life. So that's a little bit about WINN. And then Project WINN, on the flip side, that is our nonprofit organization. And that organization also does focus on financial literacy and mindset development. But for the nonprofit side of it is mainly to service those that are in underserved areas. We're also trying to expand globally. We have been in talks with people outside of the country, so I don't want to get too much into that. But we're working.
But you have to come back and tell us more about it once it all gets
yes. Give us the exclusive.
Right. We will. We definitely will. So basically that part of it is, and that's a little bit, I mean, all of it is exciting, but this is more exciting to me because what we envision is trying to do like an exchange program. So we want to focus on financial literacy and the mindset development part of it, but we want to do like exchange programs. So for instance, we can have kids from here go to, let's say, Morocco, which we do have we're partnered with, and have those kids learn about the culture, the literacy, and educate them there, and have the kids come here as well. So that's kind of exciting. So we're doing talks about that, and again, like you said, maybe at one other time we'll come back and talk about that in person as well. Yeah.
So when y'all talk about financial literacy, thank you, sis. Sorry about that. When we throw the word financial literacy out, Karen and I just did a career day and with a few schools in Gwinnett County. And one of my talking points, in addition to our podcast, My background is finance, banking and finance. I always wanted to be a CFP until I realized, my passion is fitness, but it's two F's. Fitness and finance,
Completely different.
Right. Completely different, but I love them both, right?
Yes.
And when you talk to young people and try to explain to them about finances, what are some of the tools that you guys do to break that down to them? Because that word financial literacy, some of them
it can encompass a lot of different things,
Yeah,
right?
it could be learning how to balance a checkbook. It could be, teaching them about stocks.
Yes.
How to pay bills, create a budget.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean so like you said, it's a pretty wide variety of things that we can discuss. So our financial competency program, it encourages like deep thinking and sharing. So first we kind of touch on the mindset, because having the right attitude and approach in everything we do is key, right? We encourage discussion about wants and needs, because in order to like create a budget, you have to figure out what are my wants and what are my needs. Now, the wants should never exceed the needs, but sometimes it does. So we still have to kind of curtail how much of a want, how many wants you want to put in that category. So we break that down. We create a list of what you want, what you need, and kind of figure out what the differences are and go from there. Then we talk about personal dreams. What do you want to be when you grow up? What are your financial goals? What do those dreams, what do those goals look like? Do you have a particular time frame? Is it a year? Is it 6 months, 3 years, 5 years? I know just for me, mine have changed over the years. So basically when I was in 20, it was, I'll be married before I'm 21, I'll have kids. And a lot of those things I didn't have at that point, which is fine, because like I said, things change. So we talk about that. We talk about investments. So the stock market, going back to how I met Tajah, and I really enjoyed that class because I invested in stocks, but it was just like picking things out of the air just because. So taking that course gave me like a rounded idea of what I'm investing in and why am I investing in it, and options which I never heard of. So we could talk about the stock market. We talk about cryptocurrency. We even talk about real estate investments, which is not my forte, but Ishel Jackson that I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, she can talk about that as well. She can speak to that. Also about tax liens. We talk about how to build savings. We talk about how to build an emergency fund. Yeah. So ironically, when I was growing up, I was taught about emergency fund because of the background my dad had, because he worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers. He wasn't an accountant, but he was in that realm, so he kind of knew about it. But a lot of kids or a lot of people nowadays don't even know about that. And I'm really surprised, because that's really important to have an emergency fund or a rainy day fund, if they even use that anymore. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Maybe I just aged myself.
So many people are so busy just going paycheck to paycheck, paying the basic minimum bills.
Exactly.
They're like, how can I, I'm not even talking about folks mismanaging money or living large, like
living beyond their means. You talking about folks,
who are barely meeting basic needs, and sometimes not even meeting the basic needs.
Right. I used to play a game. Go ahead. I used to play a game with my kids, and it was my 3 kids and then my niece. And so we played this game that, one of my inventions that I've yet to put out to the forefront. But the short story is, they played the game for a month. They got their paycheck. They paid their bills. And at the end of the month, girl, my son was like, "This is not real. I don't have any money left." He was mad.
This is real.
That's very real.
It's very real.
And I told him, welcome to the real world, because there's so many people, when they get finished paying their bills and they're doing the right things, they're budgeting, they're clipping coupons, they're ride share and all this other stuff, and they still do not have the capital to save for a rainy day or save for that breakdown of the car or whatnot. What are some tips you can give those people, all of us, some things that you can leave with us that we can start today? What are some tips you can give to us and our young people?
I would say, you have to really look at the things that you're doing right day to day. There are people who will buy like Starbucks every day, or buy Dunkin' Donuts, or just those things that aren't necessary. I mean, you just want it to have it. So, and that's kind of expensive, especially Starbucks. So just making those little adjustments by maybe doing it, if you're doing it every day, maybe every other day, or, maybe not do it this week, but do it next week, and put that money aside in your savings, because you never know how much $5 or $10 will go. And I don't think people really think about that. Like, oh, I need to have this. Or even, for instance, like for myself, when I first started out, and I'll tell you the story. So I actually lived in Georgia at one point. I didn't say this before. I used to live in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and also in Duluth.
Okay.
And so when I first moved out of and that was when I moved out of my parents' house. So every week I used to get my hair done, my nails done before I moved out now. When I moved out, it was a reality. Listen, it was a shock to me because I couldn't get my hair done every week. I couldn't get my nails done every week. So the only time I went to get my hair done was when I had it relaxed. So the money that I was using to get my hair done every week, I put aside. The money I was using to get my nails done, I put aside. So those kind of things are things that I would tell people. Just kind of look at what you're doing and see what you can cut out. You don't have to cut everything out, but just see where you can make those little cutbacks and then put the money aside, and then you should be fine.
Because you have to have a little bit of, you have to have something that gives you a little bit of joy.
You do. And that's why I said that, like for me, and again, everybody's going to be different. I can't tell you, oh, this is what you should be doing. I can just give you tips, and then you could just pull from those tips and take what works for you. But I knew for me, because I was doing it too much, that every week was too much for me.
It was too much.
So I can wash my hair every week, and then when it's time to get a relaxer, that's when I have to go to the professional, because I don't want to lose my hair.
Because some things need to be done by a professional. Like if you're gonna have to relax, you need to go and let the beautician who has gone to school, has been licensed, that knows about proper hair care, do those sort of things.
Exactly.
Don't hate on us kitchen tissues. Don't hate on us kitchen tissues.
Every now and again, get yourself a good deep condition, and you may not be able to go every, you may not be able to go every 2 weeks, but go every 2 months.
Exactly. Like you said, you can't take everything away. You still need to enjoy life to some degree. And I also used to go out to eat a lot. So what I used to do was I would make food, let's say for a couple of days, and then I would on Friday was my day to go out and just treat myself, have something to eat, and just do it that way. Have it eat, drink something, and then I would go back to, okay, let me make food, basically food prep for the rest of the week. So those are ways that I would tell people to kind of scale back and put money aside, and that should work.
Anytime I've ever worked outside the home, like when I wasn't working at home, but like I would always take my lunch.
Yes.
And Fridays would be my one day. This is before I was vegan. Friday used to be my one day that I would go out to eat. Out of the office. But now since I'm vegan, there's so many places that are just like not worth me eating at. I just bring my lunch all the time. But when you talk about like cutting back, my husband used to go to QT every day and get coffee. Wow. And we spent a couple of bucks. And so I was like, you realize that you're spending like $3 a day or whatever for that coffee. That's like $15 a week. So someone had given us a Keurig machine for an anniversary gift or something. So I ordered him the QT coffee. The little
you see?
And I got the cups. I think they were Dixie cups, and they come with the coffee cup.
Yes.
So you can have your little coffee experience rather than going over there every day. He's like, but I go over there and I got friends.
Right. And I love that, because that definitely is a way to cut back.
So when you add that up, I think there's a calculator for you to put Starbucks. Like if you buy Starbucks every day, I'll there's a calculator out there in the World Wide Web where you can look and see how much money you spend in a year. And when I did it, it was like
at least $5.
Wow,
it's like an IRA when you add it up. If you are chronic, even like Squares in Illinois, for those who smoke, no disrespect, but it's like take a gas to buy Squares. And I'm like, that is a lot of money to spend if you go through Squares.
Definitely.
You know, and all that stuff. So it's a way to just sit back and look at what you're spending. Because when you put that together, it literally is an IRA. How much you can invest in an IRA a year?
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a savings right there.
Yeah.
When you do that math, you like, what?
It's unbelievable.
It is very unbelievable. It's very unbelievable.
So start with the little things, see what you can cut back, not necessarily eliminate, but cut back out of your budget, so that you can start saving. You know, if it's nothing but $20, $30 a week. I have this app on my phone called Stash, and this is not a plug for Stash.
But it is not a plug, family.
It is not a plug. But it's an app that I have, and there's others that are like it, but this one app that I have, it takes out from my checking account, like you could set it up for like $5 a week, $25 a week, whatever. And it's an investment app. So I've chosen, you know, different areas that I want to invest in. It's just, and so this is outside of my 401k, outside of my retirement, and it's just like a little investment. And what it does, and it also has like a cash portion to it, that it has a debit card, and so I leave it alone for the most part for like that little cash portion, and every now and again, because when you use it at stores, you can purchase little percentages of stock, little bits of stock. So like I wouldn't touch it for like months at a time, and then I would go to like Dollar Tree. Yeah, Dollar Tree. So I go to the Dollar Tree and I would use it, and then when I'd use it in the store, I would go there and I'd like stock up and get like $40-$50 worth of stuff from the Dollar Tree, because you know you never go in there and just buy one thing.
Of course not.
So when I would type with the card, then it would tell you just purchased like 96 cents of Dollar Tree stock. And so and so there's some other little stores that you can use it at too, but I don't use it all the time, and I'm not in stores a lot, but that's what I would use at some of these stores, like use my little card out of this account, and so it wasn't messing with my money out of my checking or savings account. It was just like over there, and I'd use that and I get a little bit of stock back. So I love things like that. And Stash isn't the only one. I think there's some other apps that do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, there are probably some other ones too.
Yeah, but it's a savings that I don't even think about. And the money is getting invested. And then so maybe like I'll say I'll just as an example, maybe $10 a week goes into like the cash part, and then like another $20 a week might go into like buying some stock, and it just purchases little pieces of different stocks and different companies every time cash hits it. So those are ways that if you don't have a lot of money, you can start off with $5, $10, $15, $20. Just to get your feet wet.
But what I'm glad you said that, Karen, because
me too.
Early, my question is, I feel like I know the answer to this question. How early is early? Should we start saving with our young people and getting them on point? And how early is early to start talking about credit?
It's never too early to start saving or talking about saving and money, because I remember having a CD when I was probably, I don't know. I don't even know how old I was. That's how young I was, because my parents wanted us to have, you know, I guess the checkbook, and then you look and you see how much money you have in there. Of course, we weren't supposed to touch the money, but the fact is we had a checkbook, we know what was in there. So I don't think it's ever too early to teach them. You could start putting money in there when they're old enough to start talking about money. You can show them the passbook and then say, okay, this is what's in there. They're probably going to get allowance for cleaning up, or I don't know what the young people are doing nowadays, because it's probably different than when I was growing up. But they probably still get allowance to do things, so they can put that allowance aside in their piggy banks, and then maybe take it to the bank one day with the parents and open up that checking account and just talk about. The parents can talk about those discussions. As far as the credit, I don't think it's too early to talk about credit either. I think I would say maybe when they're maybe 8-ish, because then you understand a little bit more
Yeah.
about the money. They go to the store, they see parents using cards or money, they can explain what a credit card is. I do have, I bought these cards for kids around that age that kind of teach them financial literacy is also like, what's a credit card? What's a debit card? When do you use cash? So I think those tools are really helpful for them to have. And honestly, I think the younger the better, because I know for me, when I graduated high school and went to college, I really wish that I had these programs in place that we do have now, because I would have been in a much better position than I am now.
Yes.
Because it's like when you go to college, it's like credit card haven, because you're not around your parents. They're like, oh, sign up for this, sign up for this.
Yep.
And I signed up for that one card, ladies, and it took me so long to pay that off. It was insane. So that's why now, like, I'm so passionate, as well as Tajah and my other colleague Ishel, about trying to teach these young people what not to do, because we don't want them to wind up where we did. I mean, we turned out well at the end, but we don't want them to have
But
to
it
go
was
through
a
the
struggle.
pain points that we did,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I was 18.
Mhm.
I was 17 when I started college, but here I am, 18 on a college campus. And
Right.
back then, all you had to do was show your student ID. And you could
Yes.
get a credit card.
Right.
That's all you had to show. So
Exactly.
here I was at 18 years old. I had a diners club. Y'all remember that?
Yes, I remember. I didn't
Diners
have that one, but yes, I do remember
Yes.
that
I
one.
had a diners club. I had American Express. I had
Oh,
the
yes, you had
Visa.
American Express, girl.
Yes, ma'am. No,
Yeah, great
all
credit.
I had was a little part-time job. That's all I
Yeah,
didn't
right.
ask you about jobs. All you had to show was your
No.
college ID. I had all these
Exactly.
credit cards. I had a Lord and Taylor's credit card at 18.
Wow. Ooh, girl.
Y'all remember Lord and Taylor's?
Oh, yeah, very well.
There used to be one in Buckhead.
All right.
So
Listen, here I am. I went and bought myself a white Gucci bag.
Oh gosh.
I'm a college.
You went all out, girl.
A white Gucci, the
duffel.
the duffel that had the drawstring.
Yeah, yes.
White, all white.
Couldn't tell you, that's right up my alley. Go on, girl. You was fine.
And bought it myself. Why? Because I didn't know anything about money.
That's the thing.
Like, oh, credit card, I paid $20. I paid $30.
Right. And that's the thing. They don't, I mean, I'm sure that it was a lot of money, so they don't explain to you. If you spend $500, at some point you're gonna have to pay the $500 back.
Yep. Plus interest.
Interest, right.
Okay, here's another question. So speak to our listeners about I just let me explain it, and then you can, because I don't know how you talk about it. So you go to a department store, you buy you buy stuff you got on credit. Okay. Am I echoing? So you got stuff on one credit. Then you go back to that store and you buy, say, a television, and you on that 90-day something, and then it's like interest free, right?
Yes,
So
I know what you're talking about.
The consumer is making payments. They're thinking that payment is going towards that 90-day thing, but it's going towards their normal bill. And then when the 90-day interest-free rate is over and they get this big balloon interest for this item, they're like, I didn't know. But it clearly says on your receipt,
right,
how the business is going to apply the money that you send, unless you specifically say, apply this money to this purchase so you can get it paid off before the free interest rate is over. That term is over. Can you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. It might be two things. So are you talking about okay, so for instance, like when I first moved out, I bought a bedroom set. And so they said that this whole thing is interest free for 18 months.
Right.
So as long as I paid it off before the 18 months, I was fine. If I didn't, then the interest accrues from the first day that I purchased it up until then. And then that could be thousands of dollars, because it was accruing every day. Right? So the goal is to pay it off before that term expires. So if they give you 90 days, you have to pay everything off before the 90 days, or else you will incur the fees on top of what you paid for your merchandise. In this case, the TV, I think is what you said.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, so in addition to that, I don't think people also know that if you already have an existing balance, let's just pick a store. You go to Karen Scott Green department store, you already have an existing balance.
Right.
You buy another item on top of that that's interest free for a certain period of time. If you don't, and I'll get a receipt and look that up, and I'll say the store when I look up the receipt, because I had a citizen who called me and was like, they are, ripping us off. And I looked and I read in the receipt where it says on the receipt, who reads your receipt? Because your warranty is on the back of your receipt.
Don't.
Yes. And then you got to go to the website to look at the terms of the receipt. And they should have told me. They're not going to do that. So I want people to know some of these potential pitfalls when they're making these credit card purchases and so forth, because you got to read what you're buying so you don't have an exorbitant amount of interest going to hit you over the head. So I just wanted to speak to that so that people won't fall into that trap, because that's how you stay in debt, and that's what they want. It takes people how many years to get out of it? I mean, we talk about school loans. Just imagine when you buy that Gucci bag. But Karen wasn't in debt though.
My credit got ruined in my early
because of that.
Well,
not because of that.
Just behavior.
That behavior. Yeah. In my early 20s, shot. It was shot. Yeah. I had all these credit cards. I had no business having those credit cards.
Yeah. Don't get credit cards, young people.
No,
don't get credit card.
That's what I tell my boys.
It's funny that you're saying that, because I tell my niece all the time, and she understands. She's in her 30s, but I'm like, do not get a credit card. If you do get a credit card, get one credit card. That credit card is for emergencies only. Try to just use your debit card or cash. And if you're using your credit card, just keep it at a balance that you can manage, because the higher it gets, the harder it's going to get to pay that off.
Yes, ma'am.
Should they buy only what they can pay off before the 30-day cycle? Because let's speak to that just a little bit, because you need CFP, I'm asking you, a CFO, I'm asking you, you need credit. So when you're young, while you don't have any credit, it's still a source that creditors want.
Of course.
And you need credit to get your car, get you an apartment, and all this stuff. Especially because some kids don't have their parents to lean on. Let's just call it what it is. If you are 18 years old, you're grown. Some of these young people grown at 16, they got to make it. So what tips can we give these young folks that don't know what they don't know, and what questions to ask? What's the best route to safely build your credit and stay along a good path so they don't go into the pitfalls we've gone through?
Right. Well, it's kind of going back to what you just said. If you're purchasing something on a credit card, purchase something that you can pay off within that 30-day period. Because once you go over that, it is going to get harder and harder to pay that off. Yeah, because I've fallen into that pitfall. Basically, you ladies have shared that you've fallen into that pitfall. And this is why I've told my niece and other young people, just really try to do that. The only way that you should not do that is if it really is an absolute emergency and you have to get whatever it is, but still try your best to pay what you can and just continue to pay it off while you can. Don't continue to, you know what, I need to get this bag. I need these shoes, when you don't need those shoes. You don't need the most expensive sneakers. You don't need the most expensive bags. You don't need to be going out every day to these elaborate restaurants. So that's why I was talking about before, like really looking at wants versus what you need. Really use that card for what you need and not what you want.
And that's the key. Another place where people fall into this trap is when they go out and into their first apartment or to their first home. They go and they want to get furniture on credit. Listen, if you have nothing but a bed and a table in your house or that apartment,
that's what I started out with.
You build the rest of that as you can afford it.
Y'all, to me, I had a washer and a dryer. That's all I had, because I grew up washing my clothes by hand, and I was washing another stitch of clothes. So, girl, I would sleep on that washer and dryer.
So see, that was your need.
That was
There
your
you go.
need.
You see?
Yeah. And so so we have to, because oftentimes when we buy a home or we go into a first apartment or whatever, folks think I've got to furnish this whole thing now. No, you
Everything.
don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No,
You
you don't.
don't.
You don't.
You
Room
don't.
by room.
Room by room.
Yeah.
Listen, when I got my first house, I went to a thrift store and got furniture. So I had I had a bed. I had a bed for my son, my oldest son. I had a bed for him. Had his went to the thrift store and got like a dresser and stuff for him. So his room was straight. I
Mm-hmm.
found a $40 sectional at a
Mm-hmm.
thrift store and had that in my living room along with the bookcase that I had from my old apartment. And
Yeah.
I slept on that sectional until I could buy myself a bed. Like I
Yeah.
slept in my living room until I could
Yeah.
buy myself a bed,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And it's funny that you say that because I think young people, like you were saying, everything we have to get everything. We got to furnish
Yeah.
the bedroom, the living room, the office, the kid. You don't have to
You
do
don't
that.
have
Like similar to you, ladies. The only thing I really wanted was my bed. I
hmm
bought the bedroom set. The first night I slept on the floor because they couldn't deliver it. I drove from New York
Mm-hmm.
to Georgia, so I got the bed the next day. So I slept on the floor. And I
Yeah.
only had that bedroom for a while because that was the only thing I could afford.
Yeah.
And ironically, that bedroom set that I bought was the 18-month, no interest or
Yeah.
whatever. So I made sure I paid that off
Yep,
before
it
the
ain't
Because you ain't
18
good.
want
months because
nobody
I
to
was
know what that came with
not
that bed.
getting hit with that interest. No way.
And the
I'm
other
like, they didn't
thing
know who they were dealing with.
is don't do rent to own. Do not
Yeah, I've never done that,
That.
but yeah, that's
oh,
another thing. Yeah, I agree. Don't do that.
don't do rent
No.
to
Tell them
own.
why.
And
Tell them
don't
why.
do and don't do and I would also say, besides don't do rent to own, don't do store credit cards.
Why.
If you have
Yeah.
to have a credit, because of the interest rate is horrible. The
Yes,
interest
the
Mm-hmm.
rates
interest
are
rates are
horrible.
very high.
And they often bait and switch you with a teaser rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just like you were speaking of Kat, they bait you with a teaser rate, and then they jack up the interest
It
rate
goes
after
up.
that
Yeah.
introductory period.
Yeah.
Right.
So I I am not a proponent of store credit cards, and definitely not like rent to own kind of places.
That's right.
Right.
Um, I think if you have, get you go. I'm big on going to Goodwill, Salvation Army, or whatever, and getting a little,
Facts. Go to
getting
Facebook Market.
yeah, Facebook
Yeah, all of
Marketplace,
that.
all of
Hmm.
that. You
You
know,
And
know what?
I'm sorry, one thing I want to piggyback off of what you said, Karen, is, with the store credit cards or any credit card for that matter. So
mm,
don't get the store credit cards. I agree with you on that. But if you're looking for a credit card, try to look at the different interest rates to decide which one is going to be the lowest one and best for you. Don't just get the one that, oh, well,
yeah,
this person has that.
Right.
Look on your own to see what you can do, and look for the lowest one. That's what I would do.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
also,
Yeah.
would you say credit cards have benefits? So look for a credit card not only that has a lower rate, that also has a
Points
return.
back.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
girls speak
points
was
back,
this.
money back. Hmm.
And,
And
and
I'll tell you something interesting about that with the points back. So I have a couple of credit cards where, after you spend a certain amount of points or dollars rather, you'll get like cash back. So
Mhm.
that cash back I put into my savings, or
oh,
I invest that in the market. So that's
Yeah.
another way you can do savings.
very
If you're going to
good.
spend all this money on that credit card and
Mhm.
get points, or you can convert it into cash back, I would do that for sure, hands
Okay.
down. That's another way to save.
Now,
So
how can people
go
get?
ahead.
Go ahead, girl.
I
Look,
was
we
just
on this thing.
I was just about to ask, what are some upcoming projects for WINN Network and Project WINN?
Okay, so currently, on the WIN Network side, we are trying to work with the city of Newark.
Mhm.
Okay.
They want us to come in for an adult literacy program, so that's supposed to be in June for 2 days.
Okay.
And then Project WIN is supposed to be sponsoring an event for, I think it's going to be like a book bag giveaway.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't have all the details on that because
Okay.
that's something that's new, and I
That's
didn't sit on
okay.
that in completely. And then there are some other things that are a little more exciting that I can't share at the moment, but you will definitely hear about it. Whether it's going to be on social media too. So we'll let you know.
Anyone could go to Project WINN, that's PROJETWINN.org.
Correct.
And they can also go to WINN Network, which is WINNNETWORK.com to find out what the organization has going on, keep up to date on any project, and also to sign up for when you have more classes.
To sign up for a newsletter, to donate, because donations are essential, especially for the Project WINN side, because we're trying to do so much. Like I said, we're trying to do programs overseas. We're trying to do programs within New Jersey, Georgia, and just nationwide. So everything helps for sure. Doesn't matter how little or small.
That's
we'll
right.
It. Or you can donate your time too. It's not only monetary. You can also donate your time. So
that's right. I know that's right.
With the WINN Network, there are workshops and webinars and personalized coaching.
Correct. And that's all customizable too, as well.
Make sure you go to the WINNetwork.com, and WINN is WINN network.com. So that's 2 N's, and they are located in Lilburn, Georgia. And for the WINN, for Project WINN, which is the nonprofit, you could also go to projectwinn.org and find out about the curriculum, the marketing, the technology that they have going on, and learn about the different programs, literacy programs, and also the workshops with the WINN Network. Because I need to get in on one of them workshops for real.
I
need a webinar. I need that invest in one that you were at, sis.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are facts.
So you can know the terms and get your behind
it. Yeah. Do you know when that's? Do you know when that's
got you covered, ladies?
Do you know when it's going to be offered again?
At this moment, no.
Okay.
But we can talk about that. I can find out.
Yeah, we will definitely.
And that could probably be worked into a workshop, because like I said, we also customize. So that's not a problem customizing.
Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah. So one of my last questions that I want to make sure we always ask here, mental health is what we're trying to shatter. So with all the things that you ladies do with your organization, please leave our listeners with some tips and tools. How do you manage your mental wellness with all the things you do every day? How do you manage your mental wellness?
I mean, that is definitely a great question. I'm totally big on that because, again, with all these titles, it does get overwhelming at times, although, you're passionate about everything, right? So for me, my mental is going to get my hair done. I'm back to that because it's like self-care. I'm taking care of myself, even though someone else is doing it. Like once a month, I'll get my nails done, like a manicure and pedicure. I'll go to run in the park or walk around, just enjoying the nature. I go to the gym. I cook. Like those are things that for me take me into a different headspace when, things get overwhelming. So that's how I handle it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. Share that. Yeah, because we want to help shatter that and give people tools that they can use themselves. A lot of times people don't know. So we want to share what we do individually. So letting people know that everybody has challenges, and we all try to find what's best for us to overcome those challenges. And so when we share ours, we help liberate other people to do the same. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no problem.
That's on our show. And shoot, girl, I can't wait for us to sign up and get involved and get these kids and all that stuff.
We would love that.
I need to go ahead and make my $1 million. So I need to get into that stock class.
Facts. Okay. And I want to remind everybody to please subscribe to Karen and Kat. Go to karenandkat.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us and stay connected, because we're doing this because we believe in it. We want to make sure we help the world become a better place. And so we need your support. We appreciate your support. And we want to continue to move forward and highlight as many people as we can doing great work in the community. So thank you, Jennifer.
Yes.
Thank you. I always get that, believe me. No, thank you again, ladies. This was really a wonderful discussion. I really enjoyed it. And I thank you again for having me on your program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And as always, to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Well, we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.